It is 1983, the Cold War era. In the early hours of the morning, Officer Stanislav Petrov receives several computer readouts stating that the United States has launched several nuclear missiles at the Soviet Union. Petrov's duty is to alert his superiors of the readings so that the Soviets may retaliate. The readouts tell him that the reliability of the alert is high and that 5 missiles are being launched at the Soviet Union. Petrov does not report an attack. Petrov declares the readings to be a false alarm. Petrov likely saved the world from nuclear war. The missiles reported were indeed a false alarm. An error in the sensors caused them to warn of nuclear missiles that weren't there. Petrov doubted the accuracy of the report, and, disobeying his orders, did not report the detected missiles to his superiors. He instead reported a malfunction in the system, and several minutes later it became clear that he was right and the missiles detected were a false alarm. The Cold War was an intense rivalry between the United States and Soviet Union, of capitalism versus communism. It was a competition to spread their ideologies, to build more nuclear weapons, to explore outer space. But the Cold War never became hot, and despite the large quantities of nukes produced, none were ever launched. There was a mutual understanding between the two superpowers. If one side launched their nukes, the other would follow suit. This understanding was called MAD, Mutually Assured Destruction. This understanding kept the nukes on the ground, and the superpowers to never directly go to war with one another. Petrov surely understood MAD doctrine very well. He understood that if the missile threat was real, then by alerting his superiors, the Soviets would respond to the nuclear attack with one of their own, resulting in the decimation of the population of both countries. Yet if the missiles had been real, bombing the Americans would not have saved the Soviets. The destruction of two nations is not better than the destruction of only one, which is perhaps what was on Petrov's mind when he made the call that there was a malfunction in the report. Petrov was under direct orders to report any warnings of nuclear attack to his superiors, and the certainty level of this report was supposedly high. Yet Petrov disobeyed his orders and doubted the report, using his own judgment to conclude it was faulty. His refusal to blindly follow orders, but to instead carefully examine the situation, was just as important in his prevention of nuclear war as his observant doubts regarding the missile warning. Of all the officers on his team, he was the only one who had a civilian education. The other officers were all trained to obey orders, and had he not been on shift when the alarm came, one of his colleagues likely would have reported an American nuclear attack, evoking MAD and starting a nuclear war. Now, nearly 4 decades later, it is hard to imagine a plausible scenario that could lead to a nuclear war. Yet, on September 26, 1983, the world was one person away from nuclear war. Thankfully, Petrov was on duty that night.